Hi and welcome again to another episode of our Couch2couch sessions. I've got the pleasure today of having Graham Berry, who's the Emea Sales Leader of OpenShift Container Platform at Red Hat. Graham, welcome, and if you'd like to do a little introduction to the audience.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Glad to be here. So yeah, as mentioned, my name's Graham Berry. I work for Red Hat, responsible for our OpenShift business in EMEA. So yeah, speaking to customers about how they're embracing digital transformation and using things such as containers and Kubernetes on that journey, and how our technology can support that. So yeah, looking forward to the discussion today.
So Graham, let's kick it off with the first question. So you head up the OpenShift sales for the UK. How's the current situation affected the conversations you're having with your customers and other organizations?
One of the common things that we're seeing is that a lot of businesses are now needing to accelerate their digital journey because people now trying to access services from home digitally. So this is something that organizations are, and we're seeing even with some websites now where they're having to queue people to get on because they just don't have the capacity and the scale of these applications. And we've been working with analysts, and what was quite interesting is seeing how actually infrastructure as a service and platform as a service is actually expected to grow during this period where companies need to access more cloud computing. They need to deliver more applications faster in a cloud native way. So on the one hand, from an containers and OpenShift perspective, what we do, that's a good thing. On the negative side of that, of course, is that a lot of organizations are really struggling. A lot of projects will be put on hold. So what we're trying to do is just understand, and obviously empathize with our customers around the challenges that they're facing, and look at how we can support them in these challenging times and how we can help them get to their customers and serve their customers better.
What demands and urgency is this put on your platforms and platforms like OpenShift? And how do you see OpenShift being a key enabler for this new world that we're now currently living in?
One of the reasons people work with platforms like OpenShift, it is all about speed and time to market. So organizations that are on a journey from traditional waterfall development process into a DevOps way of working, customers who are looking at how they package their applications, rather than packaging them onto physical servers from virtual machines now into containers. Customers are looking at embracing cloud computing from traditional data centers, and actually customers how they're building those applications, moving from monolithic applications into microservices. So all of these, these are all parts of digital transformation, and something like containers and Kubernetes, which is obviously what OpenShift provides, is an enabler for that. So we've been helping our customers on these digital transformation journeys over the past 4 years and around OpenShift. And I think what we're going to see as a result of the virus and the way it's changed the way of working is that, as I say, that acceleration needs to happen a lot faster. A great example, I won't name the retailer, but there was a retailer that in the UK was available for click and collect, but they couldn't handle the capacity hitting their website. So they then moved into opening stores. And actually, from one report we saw, the revenue decreased by actually going into the store model because there was less people than they had on their website. So there's an example of where, embracing and scaling up your service delivery, your application delivery to your customers is really important. There are many organizations out there today where traditionally they will only trade with people face to face. So they may have a very small online presence. In the current world, across the globe, although we're seeing lockdown being released in some places, if you don't have an online presence or a way of interacting with your customers, you're not able to trade. So there are many businesses now that will need to, not just during this crisis, but I think when this crisis is over, really think about their digital model, and that it's important that they're able to look at technology as a way of being able to get those applications out to their customers faster. One of the best stories that I've seen recently, and it was only happened to be watching a film with my daughter last night, and it was the new Trolls movie. So not my cup of tea, but she loved it. And what was interesting was that it was one of the first movies that Universal would bypass cinemas to stream. and they've made more money in streaming this film than the original film in this series made. So I think they've made more money in a couple of months than this film made in its entirety. So there's an example again of a company bracing digital channels, and actually that could be maybe even the future now. Maybe films will say, well, actually we'll bypass cinemas and just enable people to stream it because we were able to reach more people on demand when they need it. So there's definitely going to be, I think that relates back to the analyst reports about OpenShift and platforms as a service growing in that fashion, because people will need to now and for the future look at how they get their applications to their customers a lot faster than they do today.
How are you finding that Red Hat is helping these companies through the crisis? And what advice would you give those companies trying to decide on what they're going to do to prioritize their projects?
We're obviously looking at, as always, around what our customers are trying to achieve for their business, and how we, as both a technology provider, but also in terms of as a services company, in terms of adoption of things like containers, can support and assist on that journey. I think there's many things that we need to emphasize with our customers around. We're trying to do, for example, a lot of moving into the virtual world ourselves. So we would engage with our customers a lot around our developers, in our customers around understanding how to use OpenShift and run developer workshops. Obviously that's changed now, and we're doing this virtually with our customers. So we're trying to do as much as we can virtually with them as well, trying to understand what projects are taking priority for them, and again, understanding what tools and technologies we have to help them. There are many things that I think IBM, as our parent company, have been in the press in terms of supporting the response to COVID, and no doubt Red Hat will be involved in many of those projects and priorities as well. I think the key thing I would say to any business that I speak to is, that there could be, if you look at DevOps in particular, there could be a reaction to move into that new model and maybe scale back or row back to what you were used to before. And actually, we would advise not to do that, and still embrace the DevOps way of working, even though it's obviously a lot more difficult in a remote world, just because silo teams tend to perform even worse when everything is remote. The friction of that kind of handoff of work is made worse by distance. So, we would still promote the DevOps way of working with our customers, and we help our customers prioritize what are the projects that they need to focus on right now. Many businesses will be, okay, we just need to focus on what we're doing today and keeping the lights going and keep working, and everything that's innovative is on hold. We understand that, and it's about how can we help to give them the capacity to do more. And one of the ways to do that is through technology, using tools like an OpenShift, using our people like Couchbase and our ISV community, the tools that they have on the platform to help automate a lot of the stuff that they're doing today. So that's why we do think that OpenShift is going to play a key part now and in the future of how customers work.
How's the company culture sort of changed, and how are you finding that the organization is able to strike a good balance of maintaining that relationship, but also having to maintain that distance with the customers?
It's been a change, and it's been a bit of a shock to the system. For me personally, my life was spent traveling around EMEA, on planes every week, and now this here is my world. So it is certainly a change. I think what we've seen within Red Hat is Red Hat has always had a culture about the people. So there are many different things that are set up for people to communicate with and talk through, and people are understanding that this is obviously going to impact some people's mental health and challenges of working from home with family and children and all of this stuff. So there's definitely been a lot of I think really nice stuff by Red Hat to kind of get everyone together as often as possible, lots of team calls, just a chance to talk through. And there's always a kind of a 5 minutes into the call, everyone talks about what's going on and how they're coping. And I think that's really important to kind of be able to share that everyone's in the same boat. I think the positives that we're seeing out of this is that one thing will be interesting is that how much do we need to travel in the future? How much is possible virtually versus the old world, as everyone else seems to be calling it, because it seems so long ago. But do you necessarily need to travel to do everything? And is virtual possible. I think it's seen people, enhance their skills virtually as well, make sure that, the way that they set up and communicate and everything needs to be done a lot better. And I think for us, just generally, we understand that our customers are in the same boat. So as I mentioned about the developer workshops, we're trying to do as much as we can to take the stuff that we would do face to face with customers and turn that into a virtual world. And that we regularly have checkpoints in with our customers. And ultimately, one of the first things I would advise anyone to do is, when you get a chance to speak to your customer, don't go straight in onto the business topic. Find out how they are, make sure you empathize with their situation, because it often can get missed in customer meetings, but they're also going to be in the same boat. And it's important that, everything that you realize is a challenge in your life now is going to be the same for them. So make sure you empathize around that point.
You've also got two very historically different companies, IBM and Red Hat now. How have the two companies combined, and how do you see, or do you see the business culture change in the future for you and everyone inside the organizations?
IBM understand that with Red Hat, being an open source company, there is no IP, it's all open source is what we do. And therefore it's people that they are buying. And therefore the culture of Red Hat is really important. And interestingly, Jim Whitehurst, our CEO of Red Hat, is now the president of IBM. So we may see more of the Red Hat culture moving into the IBM way of working, which will be a good thing. But no, it's been hugely positive. It's been really positive for our customers. And I think, the initial question that you asked, I think was the question that all of our customers had, which was, will this change Red Hat? And I think they've seen over the last year or so now that it's not, and that it's been a real positive.
But obviously now you're doing a lot of other stuff. We obviously, Couchbase and Red Hat have been working on things for a long time, and for the last 2 years, because sort of almost can't believe it's been 2 years, we created our autonomous operator for OpenShift. I think we were the first database, in fact, that actually had the autonomous operator for OpenShift with you. How do you see working with partners like Couchbase and others to basically get hooked into OpenShift, to see the value, realize the value, and start using OpenShift faster?
One of the most important things for me is our ecosystem and our partners, our ISVs, people like Couchbase, who build technology that our customers need to consume, but build it in a way that it's easy to consume. The world is moving into this world of automation. It's moving into this world of containers. And what we did with OpenShift around the operator framework is all around, if you're going to consume applications that are running inside containers on Kubernetes, on a platform like OpenShift, what is the easiest way to consume them? What's the easiest way to manage them? And that's where the concept of operators came from. And we've done a lot of work in this community, and a lot of these certified operators are now available. We've got more than 100 now on OpenShift. So it's really about building out this ecosystem, and also this marketplace, which you would have seen the announcements about this week at Summit, which is all around customers being able to come in and saying, okay, I've got my container platform. Now I need a database. And what database do I want to use? I want to use a market leader, someone like a Couchbase. And it's there and available for you to download, install, and Kubernetes manages the life cycle of that software application. So having ISVs like Couchbase kind of pioneer and lead in that way, I think is crucial for us. And it's why we're really grateful to the work that you do. And it's interesting that what we're seeing more and more is that, and we'll see this more and more, is that when customers are looking at technology to run on something like OpenShift, one of the prerequisites will be in the future, and we're already seeing it now, is does it have a certified Kubernetes operator? And if you're a vendor and you do not have this today, it could see you lose out in a competitive situation in the future, because that is a huge win for the customer. If they're an OpenShift customer and they're looking for a database solution, and Couchbase are coming with this autonomous operator, and another competitive vendor does not have that, then as a customer, it's going to be much better option for you to go down this route. So I think, it's hugely important to us. You're going to see the marketplace grow and grow on OpenShift, and more vendors are going to be certifying and building operators. But it's I think for Couchbase, it's been a fantastic achievement to be one of the first people on there.
Well, that's great to hear. So thank you for the endorsement on that side of things. And equally, with regards to every customer that we go to, if they're not already using Kubernetes, and equally getting involved in OpenShift, they've got it on their roadmap, and we're seeing it as certainly a high priority piece. So getting to the end of our session and our time here, so finishing on a light note, what are you doing now in lockdown that you've never done before?
What am I doing in lockdown that I've never done before? Drinking on a Monday probably is not the right answer. So just, what am I doing? So taking more walks is probably something that I traditionally, we, be so busy with work, weekends, we do stuff with the kids. We've been looking at, we downloaded a really cool app. We live in the countryside, and this app shows you good walkways through all the woods and stuff. So yeah, we've been taking in walks, which have been nice. But that's probably one of the things that I've never traditionally done before that I'm now doing. And also just trying to get into some kind of routine at home that you just traditionally not used to, and try and focus on routine to try and make this normal. How about yourself?
Myself, I've been my list of jobs that I've always been putting off, I can no longer put off anymore.
Actually, one of the other things we're doing, which is really cool, is we're doing quiz nights as well. That's been, I think, hugely popular. We've got 3 different groups of friends that are there, and we're all doing different quiz nights throughout the week. So I think one positive, when this is all over, I will come out and have an incredible amount of general knowledge that I didn't have before on completely random subjects from these quizzes. So yeah, it's going to, hopefully that will come to good use one day.
Grant, thank you very much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Couchbase. And yeah, anytime you want me back on the couch, just give me a call.